Welcome to The Explainer. Now, forget getaway cars and masks for a minute. Today, we're diving into the kind of crimes that are committed with a pen and a password. We're going to break down the whole world of white-collar crime, from broad securities fraud all the way to the one everyone's heard of, insider trading.
Right. This is not your typical crime story at all. The people we're talking about, they don't need a weapon. They operate in boardrooms and on trading floors, where, a single piece of secret information can be way more powerful than a key to a vault.
So, let's kick things off by really digging into what makes this category of crimes so unique. We're stepping into a world where deception is the main weapon, and a whispered secret can actually cause more financial damage than a full-on physical heist. Okay, so at the very heart of most of these financial crimes is this one big concept called securities fraud. Getting a handle on this is absolutely key, because it's pretty much the foundation for a ton of other white-collar offenses. You see that keyword right there, deception. At its core, that's all securities fraud is. It's about lying, it's about misleading people or hiding the truth, all to manipulate the market and walk away with a profit you didn't earn fairly. And this kind of deception can pop up in a bunch of different ways. It could be a company just straight up cooking its books to lie about its profits. Or maybe a group of traders who artificially inflate a stock's price, the pump, so they can sell it off, the dump, to unsuspecting buyers. There are just so many schemes designed to fool the average investor.
So you might be wondering, why is this stuff even illegal? Well, the rules actually go way back to the aftermath of the Great Market Crash of 1929. Congress passed these two huge laws to try and restore trust in the markets by making sure there was fairness and transparency for every single investor.
Now, inside that big universe of securities fraud, we find its most notorious, and let's be honest, most dramatic cousin. This is the one that makes for all the great movie plots: insider trading. In the simplest terms, it's just cheating. That's all it is. It's using a secret that you have access to, one that the public doesn't know about yet, to make a move in the stock market and get yourself an unfair and totally illegal advantage. So where does the law get its teeth to fight this? It really comes down to these two key provisions. Section 10b and Rule 10b-5 basically make it illegal to use any kind of deceptive trick or scheme when you're buying or selling stocks. For prosecutors, these are the go-to tools. Okay, but this brings up a super important question, right? Not all secret information is actually illegal to trade on. So where do you draw the line? What kind of information is considered material? And this chart, it lays it out perfectly. The legal test is basically this: would a reasonable investor think the information is important when deciding whether to buy or sell a stock? News about a huge merger? Oh yeah, that's material. The brand of coffee the CEO drinks? Not so much. So let's walk through a classic example of how this all plays out. The CEO gets some secret material info. Then they act on it before anyone else knows. And of course, when the news finally breaks, the stock price skyrockets and they profit from that illegal head start they gave themselves. It's the textbook case. Okay, so we've got the theory down. But how did all this stuff get tested and hammered out in the real world? Well, a few landmark court cases were absolutely essential in shaping the insider trading laws that we have today. You can really see how the law evolved over time here. It started way back in '68 with the Texas Gulf Sulfur case, which set the basic rule: insiders just can't trade on secret information. Then you fast forward to 1997 and the O'Hagan case brought in this misappropriation theory, which made it illegal for outsiders like lawyers or bankers to steal confidential info and trade on it. And of course, who can forget high-profile cases like Martha Stewart's, which showed everybody that these rules really do apply to everyone. So, knowing the rules is one thing, but what actually happens when somebody gets caught? Let's just say the consequences for playing the market with an unfair advantage are, well, they're severe. When it comes to enforcement, you've got this powerful trio of regulators on the case. The SEC, that's the market's main watchdog, they'll usually file civil charges. Then you have the Department of Justice, the DOJ, and they can bring criminal charges that lead to prison time. And finally, there's FINRA, which is a self-regulatory group that makes sure brokers are following all the rules. And here's the part that's a real double whammy for offenders. They can get hit from two different directions at the exact same time. The SEC can be suing them for massive amounts of money, while the DOJ is prosecuting them for the very same act, which could land them in prison. And yeah, we are not talking about a slap on the wrist here. For really serious violations, offenders can be looking at decades behind bars, 20 years or even more. And it doesn't even stop with prison time. The financial penalties are designed to totally wipe out any incentive for the crime in the first place. Courts won't just hit you with huge fines. They'll also force you to disgorge, which is just a fancy legal term for giving back every single penny you made from your illegal trades. So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway here? It's all about fairness. These laws exist to keep a level playing field, to make sure our markets have integrity, and to protect the average investor from getting cheated by someone with an illegal edge. And get this stuff can hit a lot closer to home than you might think. You know that casual stock tip you get from a friend who works at a big tech company? Yeah. If that tip is based on non-public material information, acting on it could put you in some serious legal hot water. It really pays to be careful. And that leaves us with this one final, really tricky thought to chew on. In a world where information moves at the speed of light and social media has blurred all the lines of communication, figuring out where a smart research advantage ends and an illegal inside tip begins, well, that's becoming one of the most complex questions in all of modern finance.